which sometimes that's all you need.
And Knife Juggler? I don't know too many Knife Juggler mage decks, but Firebat's bringing it.
I mean, you need to get the damage where you can. I mean, Knife Juggler with Mirror Image. That's a cool little combo.
That's a thing, yeah.
It's not a thing that happens often.
Oh, my. Oh, blah, blah. Yeah. That card's good, too. Don't forget about that one.
Very good. The one thing I'll be interested to see is this deck is a little bit more clunkier than typical Secret Mages and Tempo Mages have been in the past. So, with the inclusion of
He's
Illuminate...
just playing Nightmare...
So it enables the elemental effects.
Oh, it does! That's super cool. It's everything.
It's all. It's all you could ever ask for. This, I will say, though, if Cinderstorm does hit 5 times...
Nah.
I don't think...
Whoa.
What?
No. No, I don't believe this. I don't believe he's doing that. I don't... Oh, he's doing...
Oh, my gosh.
Okay.
So, it was okay.
Dealt 3 damage. Oh, he's got to get hand space, too, for the Alaneth.
That's what I think he might be thinking later on down the road. That's what I was talking about, is the new version of this deck might just be so clunky that a Lunith sometimes...
Plus, he saw Armorsmith already. So he knows if he doesn't want to launch that new Armorsmith.
Fair enough. I mean, look at that next level thinking coming out from Firebat.
I'm telling you. He's a wizard.
And the Nightmare coming down this turn is going to enable the Bonfire for next turn. And we were joking. You just looked at the card and said, what is that doing there? What is the Spider Tank doing there?
The Elemental Synergy.
Defend the gates.
That card's pretty good, though.
We were talking about that card earlier, just the sheer power it presents in order to value trade into almost anything.
That 3 attack goes away, but you still get a minion on board and you got to kill something immediately. I don't know about you, but a 4-mana 2/4 it says kill a mana worm. That sounds like a pretty good card.
Yeah, no, that was a really good card. And I mean, just the fact that it sticks around too. It gets 2-for-1 trades onto minions. Sjow, however, I mean, Firebat does have some strong plays coming up in the form of the Illuminith, but Sjow has a lot of armor gain.
Armorsmith.
Yes, with the Blood Razor.
So this can get a bit tricky for Firebat, but I'm guessing the Alaneth is going to get loaded up.
I mean,
he does have some. I mean, Fireball is quite good this turn, though. I'm not going to lie.
I guess it depends on what Firebat's feeling. The Fireball does help him push through some damage, maybe even if he decides to answer Armorsmith as well.
Killing Armorsmith is like dealing damage because that's going to get that life back.
Yes.
That's one of those minions where you go, it's just a 1/4. What's it going to do? Well, sometimes you don't kill it, and suddenly your opponent has 20 armor. And
then with this play, you can actually clear up both Armorsmiths.
That's right.
Which I think is what Firebat's aiming to do, and I like this recognition, saying, you know what, if he plays the Illuminith, not only will he get value generated in his hand, but ultimately he is a burn deck. He is an aggressor. How is he going to end the game if these Armorsmiths just gain ginormous amounts of armor?
Plus he gets to maintain a healthy board state here too. That's a big one.
Yeah, Gem-Studded Golem. That was a card we did not see much of when it first came out, but I mean, it's got some great stats.
It's big. And Firebat does not include Polymorph in the in his deck. If he wants to get a Polymorph, it's pretty much from Primordial Glyph.
And he did just pick up the Primordial Glyph, so you never know what's in the box. I mean, maybe Firebat thinks he wants to commit the Lunith this turn, but I don't think so. I think he's going to go for the Knife Juggler Mana Worm, or maybe just Mana Worm Primordial Glyph, trying to see what his options are. Trying to think of some other spells potentially.
Trying to weigh if that Mana Worm is worth it. You think about some of the 5-cost cards you'll get from Primordial Glyph, because of course it discounts to him. Thinking like Flame Strike's in there. There's a Polymorph.
And that Polymorph
That'll
was
do.
a great pickup. And now he can go ahead and play out the rest of his hand. Unfortunately, he will get the Juggle first before it gets Polymorph.
I think he's going to Polymorph first.
You think he's going to Polymorph first?
Yeah.
Oh, yep. I like this. I like this. Recognizing that he doesn't necessarily need the extra attack on the Mana Worm if he can hit this Juggle onto the 1/1. And even if it goes on the 2/4, that's a value trade with the 3/3. Look at just
clean.
Look at this clean play coming out from Firebat.
Yeah, Show's not looking too shabby on his hand, though. I mean, Primordial Drake, Warpath, Blood Razor, he's going to be wiping this stuff up for days.
And he just picked up the Acolyte.
Refuel now, too.
So this is looking a little... still looking really good for Sjow, but Firebat has a Lunith. And we all know how powerful a Lunith is. If you've ever played that card on turn 6 against a Warlock, you know how powerful it is.
To that same effect, if you've ever faced down Primordial Drake, you know how powerful it is. It's not Not too shabby of a card.
No, Primordial Drake, just probably the king of the dragons right now. Not many dragons can fit his stature, especially with his ability.
Just running in the minions, knows that they're very likely to bite the dust anyway, so start making some headway.
I must have more.
There's a life drinker, 4 mana, 3/3. Battle cry, deal 3 to your opponent, gain 3 life.
And you probably saw that earlier in the Shaman games, because that is the tool that Shaman uses in order to make sure that Shutterwalk ultimately ends the game. But Firebat putting it in this deck, recognizing that, you know, it just deals damage. It just deals damage, gets a little bit of life, which isn't as relevant as the fact that it deals a lot of damage.
Yeah, and you can see why Firebat fought so aggressively for board at the start. I mean, the one turn he doesn't make a big board, Sjow suddenly way ahead on that board state.
And Blaze Color coming down is going to be a good potential little swing. Both of the minions can trade off into one of the Serenite Chain Gangs and you can utilize the hero power. I believe he wants to do that because
Phoenix,
if
maybe?
he leaves the minions up, the Acolyte can get free draws.
Yep. Yeah, it's important to not have that one power remaining versus them.
That is Acolyte's greatest strength, is the one-powered minion on the other side of the board. However, we can see Warpath and Blood Razor are both in the hand.
Well, this is a lot of burn, though.
Oh, and the Blaze Collar is going to be able to enable the other Blaze Collar. But Show's going to have to make an Alunith of his own right here.
Draw 3 cards. What about some board state? He needs the gas, though. Warpath is such a good card. I think this is a with Sleep with the Fishes rotated out. You don't have that deal 3 damage to everything anymore. Warpath, it's a little bit more mana, but it's like got a built-in Sleep with the Fishes effect on it.
It's also very versatile, and that's one thing that I myself have noticed while playing Hearthstone is the more versatile that cards become, just the better they get.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why a lot of some of the strongest cards were Druid cards, because they were just so versatile.
Second Acolyte of Pain to go with it, too.
That was a good pickup.
Just turning out some draws.
And we're going to see here how Firebat navigates having so many cards inside of his hand. Because like I was mentioning earlier, Alunith is powerful, but if the hand's really clunky and you can't get rid of a lot of the cards, you're going to start burning cards.
Yep. Looks like he's in the business of using his 4-cost stuff, and then wants to follow up later with all the cheap stuff afterwards. You know, find a spot to use that Blaze Color. Maybe that's the last card he plays for burn. And in the meantime, just play as much as he can, turn after turn.
And with that, the way he has to navigate it is he has to make sure that when playing the Blaze Collar, he played an elemental last turn so he can get the burn effect. Now, if he tries to just put all of the elementals onto the board now, then it kind of forces him into a weird spot where he has to Blaze Collar the following turn if he wants to get the value. But recognizing that, he's going to use the Frostbolt over playing the Fireflies, trying to make sure that he has some kind of elemental for the following turn.
I also would have burned a card in this spot, too.
Yeah.
I believe. No, Fireflies would have been dumped from hand. Yeah, he would have been an eye-card still. But this shuts off an attack. You know, say you want to get Soul Feros online, chop out one of these minions. That's not a possibility anymore.
Yeah, looking at Show's hand, he's going to want to try and get this quest done as quick as possible because although Firebat has been putting a lot of pressure on, Firebat's eventually going to reach the fatigue damage, and Sjow might just be able to end this game with the Ragnar's hero power.
Yeah, I mean, if he can live through what Firebat's throwing at him, that's really, part of his game plan. The problem is going to be living through it. I mean, there's so much damage.
There's a lot of damage, but it is in the form of minions, and he does have Brawl now, I believe. He just drew into a Brawl.
Yep.
And if Firebat does go wide, that could be a punish.
Yeah, I mean, you're looking at 1 Fireball's down, 1 Frostbolt's down. Bonfire Elementals. I'm sorry, Blaze Caller's trying to fill the role that Firelands Portal once upon a time played.
I mean, if you think about it, it basically is a Firelands Portal. It's 7 mana, deal 5, but you're always guaranteed a 6/6. Now, it does have a drawback.
Gotta play an Elemental.
Gotta play an Elemental.
Precursor.
And picks up more burn.
Now we're in phase 2. How do you empty this hand? Sorcerer's Apprentice, of course, helps with that.
Sorcerer's Apprentice, maybe start off with the Primordial Glyph. And this is one of those weird turns where you really have to try and figure out the mana cost for everything and what you really want to do and how much you want to commit.
Well, I'm going to guess Glacial Mysteries won't be taken because he has 0 secrets in his deck.
Yeah, that'd be kind of silly to do so. Five mana, do nothing.
Yeah.
This mirror entity, though, if the Tar Lord does come down, it's going to be able to soak some damage
Really?
from some of the minions.
It's really anything comes down. I mean,
Yeah.
all Show's deck is just taunts.
Cinder Storm. This is the one I was mentioning earlier, the 3 mana. We saw this earlier on the Doomsayer. 3 mana, deal 5 damage randomly split among all enemies. What's it going to kill?
Well, no face damage, but
It's fairly solid.
you might have been able to guess that one. Wants to keep the elemental chain going.
Does end up playing another 5/4, getting a value trade, and if he chooses to, can put one of the Flame Geysers into
Yeah,
the...
trying to shut off that Blood Razor. Smart.
Yeah. I just realized that was a very smart play.
It's about the last turn that Sorcerer's Apprentice has a chance to live. And while I don't think it might live, there is a chance. But like you said, I mean, a lot of Firebat's damage is minion connection, and Show's deck is basically designed to just purely stop that.
Yeah, especially with the taunt minions. And, I mean, the Bonfire Elemental, however, when played on curve is very strong. But right now, he played an Elemental last turn. I don't think Firebat wants to be drawing cards anymore. Firebat is getting dangerously low into the fatigue count.
Yeah, it's a matter of whether or not he can end the game in time.
And, I mean, he might be able to. There is a lot of burn still. There's the Blaze Caller for 5. The Flame Geysers can add up.
But there's no armor on Firebat's side, so it can't attack.
All right, the quest is done.
That Mirror Entity proc. Boom, just a 5/9 wall.
And, I mean, Sjow might have recognized that, saying, you know what? If I give him this, it's a little annoying, but he's never going to be able to attack with it.
Yep.
I think the only thing that would allow that to attack is maybe an Ice Barrier, if that was found through a random effect.
That would have been cool.
But yeah,
Off
that would have
the
been pretty cool. And Blaze Caller probably has to be used just to get through the 5/9, but if Blaze Caller is used on this Gem-Studded Golem, 2 cards left in deck, there's honestly not that much. There is a fair amount of burn, but
It's one
that
Fireball.
it has to be put into minions is just not what Firebat wants to do.
It's one Fireball and a Mirror Image, right?
Flames consume you.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, he's got to connect.
Got to figure out something. Maybe even playing the Sorcerer's Apprentice just to maybe push that 2 damage with the Flame Geyser. Get another minion on board. Hope it's enough to get there. And with the Gem-Studded Golem on Firebat's side of the board, if Brawl comes down and that thing lives, it can't do anything at all.
That's right. It'll just be sitting duck. It's a big duck,
Sitting
but
Golem.
yeah.
Studded with
Oh,
gems.
boy. It begins. So Firebat's going to take 2 next turn and then 3, 4, 5 on the Alaneth draw. So 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 damage is going to be coming into Firebat. So he quite literally needs to kill him next turn, or he's dead.
But can he kill him next turn?
I don't think he can.
If the Sorcerer's Apprentice or the 5/3 lives, I believe the full board can be cleared. And the
Oh.
Gem-Studded Golem, that
He's got the life drinkers though. Does that buy him another turn?
I think it depends on where the Ragnaros Hero Power goes. Because both life drinkers have to be played. So 1 damage is taken, and then it'll be...
He's taking 2 right there. So he goes
Oh, 2
17,
damage, I'm sorry.
and now he's taking 12 damage, and then he'll take 6 on fatigue the following turn. So he's got to be above 18 life for this to happen. So life drinkers buy him another turn. Show's down to 11. He's going down to 10. And I think that comes pretty close to wrapping it up, because Sjow can play a bunch of taunts in the way, and then Firebat's got 9 damage left in hand.
And as long as Sjow makes sure... Oh, and Phantom Militia is just going to put a huge taunt wall that Firebat can't answer. But Sjow might be a little concerned, thinking, what's in this deck? What if there's a randomly teched Flame Strike?
Yeah.
And it allows the damage to get pushed through.
Thinking the Apple Bomb.
Oh, yeah, the Apple Bomb
5
as
mana,
well.
4/5 taunt. Says Death Rattle. Restore 5 health? 4 health? 5
4
health?
health.
4 health.
4 health. And I really like Apple Bomb. I'm going to ask you a question. Do you think Apple Bomb looks like a hybrid? I know effect-wise, it's a hybrid of Anti-Keelbot and Sludge Belcher. Do you think it also looks like Build-A-Beast constructed that with Sludge Belcher and Anti-Keelbot? Because that's what it looks like to me.
Firebat's showing up the damage he's got left.
But it's not enough.
Looks like a rotten Apple Bomb to me.
Fair enough. And the tempo elemental mage is not going to get there against the taunt warrior. Sjow is going to take game number 2.
Yep, and showing off that you don't necessarily need to have a Baku in here.